Hey, David Wygant, 10-minute daily reality check. We've had a lot of productivity. Yesterday's podcast was about who the fuck are you? Today, we're going to go a little lighter during Productivity Week, and we're going to give you the insights. Eddie Palmer's joining me.
How you guys doing today?
We're going to give you the insights of the way men think. There's something for those of you that live in other countries, and for women who don't pay attention, there's something called the NFL Draft coming up in 3 weeks. It's actually on the 26th. It's a 3-day extravaganza. It's where all the amazing college football players get to get drafted by their favorite NFL team or the Cleveland Browns. What happens is there's a whole process that leads up to the draft. There's the combine, there's the thing called the combine, and there's the thing called the combine. The combine is where people like Javion Clowney, who's a physical specimen, can wow people and become the number one draft pick and have this really weird career. There's a guy by the name of Josh Allen who throws the ball 70 yards in a pair of shorts. The last one to do that was Jamarcus Russell. We all know what Jamarcus Russell did in the NFL. Eddie and I were thinking, as we debate what quarterback's the best, doesn't it sound like a lot of men, when they go out on a Friday and Saturday night, they look at women like the scouting combine?
Oh, yeah. And let's come with a disclaimer. Just like all these NFL teams, at the end of the day, you're happy with what you went home with. We're not judging. We're just giving our observations as to maybe how to make a better draft selection going forward if you haven't already franchised, let's say, that draft pick we're talking about today. So, hey, at the end of the day, as long as you're happy. But here are just a few observations from some guys who have lived a lot, to say the least, that might come in insightful for you future drafters here.
Well, here's the thing. A man goes out on a Friday night, they go into a bar, they act like the general manager, right? They sit down, they have a drink with their friends. They start having a conversation with their friends, and they start picking out the women that are physical specimens in that bar. And they start breaking down the women. Women, you must listen to this, and men, please don't disagree, because you know it's true. You start breaking them down. So here's the guy that's never played football.
Unless you recall with her.
Right. And just like the general manager, most of them have never played football before, but yet here you are, and it's the same way in Hollywood, the same guys that decide what TV shows are and have never written a script, right? So here you are, you're playing armchair quarterback, basically trying to figure out which women you're going to go home with. Yet in reality, you've never had a one-night stand, nor have you ever taken a woman home from a bar, and most of the time when you go out, you come home and you masturbate because you're frustrated because you didn't talk to anybody. You still search the internet for opening lines that don't work, but yet you sit there and you evaluate the talent, because that's the word men will use. A lot of talent in this bar tonight, and you start critiquing women. You start looking at her ass, and you start wondering whether or not she's as good as it looks in the jeans that she has. Then maybe you do the cellulite look. You know the cellulite look. It's when a woman is wearing a short skirt, and then she folds her one leg over the other, and then you can see the dimples down the side of her leg, and men will look and see whether or not she has cellulite there.
The boob check, the cleavage look.
Right, right. I'm sorry, women, but men fucking rip you apart physically, okay? It's something that I've seen 1,001 times. And the funny thing about it is the men who rip women apart physically are usually the men that usually draft somebody like, who is that awful fucking guy the Jets drafted? Because they've had many, they drafted Mark Sanchez with the number one pick.
There you go.
And then they drafted, what was that guy's name? That guy was like, he was a physical specimen. He played linebacker. Oh, remember Aaron Mayburn? Remember Aaron Mayburn used to just, the Bills drafted him, and Aaron Mayburn he would always seem to make it past the offensive line, but yet never sack the quarterback. He'd be dancing around in circles, wouldn't know what to do, had tackling skills of a dummy.
And that's a lot like what guys do. It's amazing. Say, oh, well, she's hot and thick, and she looks like a Kardashian. I don't know what that looks like, because Kardashians don't even look like Kardashians because it's all plastic.
They look like Plastartians.
Exactly. So, but it's like, oh, I gotta have her. She's got all the hair and the boobs and the injected lips and the injected ass and the heels, and she takes pictures so nicely, and I've got to have her.
She's Josh Allen.
There you go.
She can throw the ball 70 miles an hour in shorts.
And then you get it home and you got her. Now what? Now you got to pay for all that hair and injections and nail to keep her looking the same way she does. But does she perform the way she looks? No. You got Mark Sanchez. You got a quarterback who can't get the job done, but you had to have them. They look good in the hat and shoulder pads. She looks good in the skirt and some heels on Saturday night. And that's about it. You got to find a Tom Brady. Oh, Tom was a scrawny little thing coming in, fresh
Had
face,
triceps.
Michigan, never, who is this guy? And now he's the greatest quarterback of all time. You've got to see past the superficial. Sometimes all she needs is a 24-hour fitness pass and a little motivation. Maybe go with her, or maybe hey, let's lighten your hair up a bit. Just things that come along when somebody comes along into your life. Look for somebody who's going to age well over the years. And I'm saying that not to be superficial, but a lot of these girls who are hot now will not be next year or 2-3 years later, let alone a decade from now. And then you're looking to trade in that franchise quarterback for a newer draft model. And guess what? You still got him under contract. So if you cut him, it's going to cost you.
Not only that, because it's going to cost you, because the fact is you gave him too much of a bonus because you put them on a pedestal.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens is your salary cap is out of fucking control. So you go out with them for 2 years. They cost you just about every dime you have.
Yep.
You then go and cut them and get what you're left with.
Yeah,
You're left with Visa and MasterCard bills, which is basically dead salary cap money.
And she got all her money because you didn't ask her to pay half on the rent. You didn't ask her to pay for dinners. You're pretty, just stand there. You're a great looking quarterback. Just hold the clipboard in the hat like the defense is on the field. Because if we ask you to do any real life skills, like, hey, let's invest in a vacation property somewhere and set that up and generate some revenue, or hey, let's start a startup, or hey, let's invest in the stock market together. Let's build something as a unit, as a team. They can't help you, but what can they do? And honestly, me and Dave can tell you this from experience. A lot of these completely hot smoking women are terrible in bed because the idea of fucking these women has been what every guy who has actually got the chance to do has done. They actually hadn't had sex with them. They just had sex with them in their mind. Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. Oh, and then get the towel. I mean, you're not really in there. So when you get the chance, you're like, well, she doesn't really give head that well. But she just takes pictures well, huh? So you mean your quarterback doesn't actually get the ball downfield. They just look good in shoulder pads. No, and what a tragedy.
And you're left with dead money. You're left with dead money.
Oh, yeah, dead money, just like the GM.
Just like the GMs, because these relationships that you've overspent to put this woman on that pedestal, to realize that she's really not as good of a person as she appeared to be, because you make
excuses.
Yeah, you make excuses
because they look good. You make excuses because they throw the ball 70 yards in shorts. You make excuses because, God, those blue eyes, those green eyes, those brown eyes just pop. God, those braids or black hair or blonde hair or brunette, it's so wavy and silky, and she smells so good. You're making excuses to draft the person you want because of the way they look. And that ties into some of our older podcasts for you longtime listeners. Lose your type, find your standards. I want to win. Okay, well, winning might not be that California blonde from USC quarterback or girl. It might be that University of Virginia, the one with the pimples and the braces, who in 2 years has produced into a Super Bowl winning quarterback, or a very suitable life partner. The braces fell off, the acne suddenly disappeared. And you know what? They've always been a hard worker in the gym and in their career. Now you have somebody who's bringing something to your income or your bottom line. Sound familiar?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I remember I was in a bar one night when I was bartending a long, long time ago, because I've always been an advocate of just embracing the woman that you're with and helping them become the best that they can be. I was sitting there, a bunch of my drunken guys with big beer bellies were sitting there, and they were ripping this woman apart who had some cellulite on the back of her legs. She was rocking a short skirt. She had a fucking smile that was unreal. Yeah. And the matter of fact, she was one of the nicest people I've ever met, right? And these guys are going, nah, she's just not perfect. I looked at them and I said, do me a favor. I said, I want you to do something. They look at me, they go, what? I want you to fucking lift up your shirts. So they lift up their shirts. You can see their big bellies. They look like they were 5-6 months pregnant. And I looked at them. I said, you guys are fucking disgraceful. I said, that woman over there, coolest fucking woman I've ever met in my entire life. As a matter of fact, her cellulite, who gives a fucking shit? Because first off, okay, she's a kick-ass person. Secondly, she's working hard at the gym to try to fix something that was hereditary to her, okay?
And just
Third, it just happened to her because she happened to have given birth to a kid at 21 years old, and now she's 25 and she's a single mom. And you motherfuckers, okay, you're sitting here drinking beer all the time, tipping my pockets, which I think is really great, and I appreciate it.
And pizza and
but
beer,
you're not
street meat. Yeah, New York, hit that street meat cart every day.
Yeah, you're not physical specimens. So stop ripping people apart.
But she needs to be, because that's the male ego, as we talked about in the past. That's that, that's that Donald Trump syndrome. That's that, oh, I'm this overweight, successful man. My wife needs to be in perfect shape and condition at all times. And then you actually get these women and you say, I come home and all she's talking about is not spending my money. I come home and she has nothing to add to the conversation or nothing that I gain from. And all you realize you get is some bills and maybe some head on your birthday. Because now that you've married her, she's in control. Married men know what I'm talking about. And no, I'm not married, but when you train as many women as I do, you get a lot of insight. You've got to understand, you have to find somebody you can build a franchise with. That's the moral of what we're trying to tell you here. These hot women, yes, they're hot, but they're just like Jamarcus Russell and Mark Sanchez and Ryan Leaf and all these quarterbacks that have come and gone, and Achilles Smith and geez, I can go on and on. All these
Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert, Brian Wheaton, all these Tony
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, all these terrible quarterbacks who have never brought you anything, but they look like they can do it. No, they just look like your type, but they don't have the standards of what you need to run your team or to help you build a successful team. Because when you bring in that next, when you want to raise a family, can she help you do that? No, she can't cook, but she doesn't work. So she can't cook and she doesn't work. How does that help you?
And you come home and do the dishes.
We've seen it.
We've seen it.
We have seen it with our own eyes.
Yeah, we've seen it where, like, the single mom or the mom of two, the man comes home and he's basically her servant. I mean,
Yeah.
And the thing of the matter is that, you're choosing because of your validation. You need your ego to be validated so much.
To some people
that
that walk by you in the street. They just need to walk by and say, oh my God, that guy's living the dream. Is he?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, look at
Is
him.
he?
How did he get her,
Let me tell you something quickly here. LA is the home of let's floss hard and let's shine, but most of these people's infrastructure really isn't there, which means it's all a house of cards. I've seen people who are doing on top of the world one year, the next year they're on their way out of LA because their infrastructure is not there. You need an infrastructure. The New England Patriots have an infrastructure. They just got rid of all their players, and everybody's like, yeah, but we'll somehow, they're coming out of the AFC East, and somehow they'll be in that championship game because they have a strong infrastructure. And hey, she might not be the 10, she might be that 7.5, and with some work and some hard work and with a great personality, it turns into an 8.5, and she goes to the gym and she's funny and she works hard. Now she's an 8.5. Hey, Tom Brady wasn't a 10 coming out of college, but
Tom Brady had a 1.0 body.
Yeah.
Tom Brady still has no...
He was a goofy little white kid. People were like, you were looking at the guy and laughing and making jokes about it. They still make jokes about it. Now he's GQ Man of the Year, married to a hot model who, guess what, is more successful than he is. That's called an infrastructure,
right. Who's very spiritually bound. And if you watch Tom and Me, the Facebook thing, what did they want? What did she do for New Year's Eve, right? What was her thing? She goes, Tommy, we're going to go home. We're going to meditate on intent, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, for how long? I mean, it's like, it was fucking hilarious. But if you still look at his body or look at Peyton Manning's body, Peyton Manning's got no triceps, no body whatsoever. But you know what he has? Chutzpah and fucking personality. And both of them have both of them have personality. Both of them have worked their asses off, Whether you like them or not, they were not, Peyton was the number 1 draft pick. Tom was number 6. But the thing is, it's like you have to find somebody who believes in themselves. And if you're finding somebody who only believes in their outer, you're going to have dead salary cap money. You're going to have a lot of dead money that you're going to have to fucking somehow or other figure out how to remake in the future.
I mean, if you spend that much time working on the outside, the inside can't have been built too well. I mean, think about it. There's more to life than bleached teeth and bleached assholes. You're perfect. Now what? Now what?
Now what? Now you're with somebody.
You're perfect. We're gonna stand here and just admire you, just put you on a pedestal here. Let's everybody stand here, turn the light on, and we're just gonna look at you for the next however long. You're perfect, great. We're just gonna stare at you because as soon as you open your mouth, they tend to get rid of that. So look for a little bit more. Build a franchise with a quarterback that's gonna actually get you to the promised land. Not just sell a lot of preseason tickets, but get you to the promised land. Because at the end of the day, when the lights are off and it's just you and them, it's just you and them. So you might want somebody who's actually in it for you and not in it for just them.
Everybody looks the same in the dark. But when they open their mouth, are you really listening and enjoying what they say? Eddie will be back next week. EddiePalmer12@gmail.com.
Arouse Health, people. Check out the YouTube. Check out the Instagram. Hit me on Twitter, whatever you want. Arouse Health. We're doing great things in fitness. Quickly.
And I'll see you on Monday. Saturday and Sundays we're taking off right now because Eddie and I had a long talk. As much as I love the podcast and I was doing it 7 days a week, the weekends are made for, first off, you to have a life, so you don't need to listen to me. Secondly, if you really want to listen to me and listen to the old podcasts, there's plenty of them to go back and listen to so you can catch up. And third, Saturday and Sundays, man, I got my daughter this weekend. It's like I don't really want to jam out a podcast for the sake of jamming out a podcast. So I will see you Monday morning on The Reality Check.
Have a good one.